Now this did a profile of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who's running against corrupt Joe Crowley for Congress. Let's watch.
My opponent's name is Joseph Crowley, and he is the leader of the House Democratic Caucus. He takes about $3 million per cycle from Wall Street, pharmaceuticals, luxury real estate developers, private equity groups, and in fact, he actually takes money from the same people who financed the Trump presidency. And so we are giving the first primary election in New York 14 in almost a generation, in 14 years. I grew up seeing how one zip code really determines your destiny, and how public schools were different, hospitals were different, our access, our environment, our air was different, and it all had to go back to the issue of income inequality. And so knowing that, I went to school, I studied policy, I worked for the late Senator Kennedy, eventually turned to activism, and here I am running for Congress. Because I don't take corporate PAC money, that allows me to speak about issues with a level of honesty that people who take millions of dollars from Wall Street cannot. I can talk about how luxury real estate developers are corrupting our local officials. I can talk about how Medicare for all is the option and the solution for healthcare in this country. I can talk about how we need a renewable energy economy, not by 2050, not by 2040, by 2028. And these things are possible, but they require political courage. It's not just me running a clean campaign. And that's what makes this movement so powerful. So one of the questions I get asked sometimes is, how are you going to make any change? Even if we do elect you, you're just one vote, and there are 435 members of Congress. So what does it matter? You know, nothing's going to change. I am part of a national coalition of candidates organized through two organizations, Brand New Congress and Justice Democrats. And these are a slate in total of 51 congressional candidates nationwide that have publicly rejected corporate PAC money.
Every time I watch a segment on one of these politicians, it just reminds me of how tired I am of politicians who don't actually believe in anything. Now, we do have some politicians who believe in something. Bernie Sanders believes in something. Ro Khanna, Tulsi Gabbard. There's a list of politicians who do believe in something. But the overwhelming majority don't believe in anything. And it's just so, as somebody who follows politics for a living, it really is frustrating to see these people who are obviously empty suits and they're vapid and they don't care. They're just narcissists and they're in a career and they're trying to get ahead. And it's refreshing to see somebody like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez who's like, here's what I believe in and I'm really going to fight for this shit. And I love it. And the other thought that always gets me is I always get frustrated when there are not just Republicans, because you get, of course, elected Republicans say this, but even many corporate Democrats or establishment-minded centrist-y Democrats, they love to shame people to the left of them and act like, if you want Medicare for all, for example, they act like, child. Come on, pie in the sky. I mean, this is unjustified idealism is what this is. It's so naive. This isn't how politics works. In other words, what they're saying is grow up and learn that everybody's got to sell out. That's what they're telling you. And my response to that is always, those people are just objectively incorrect. It's not a matter of opinion. They're objectively wrong. If every other developed country has one version or another of a single-payer universal healthcare system, Don't tell me we can't afford it when we just spent $7 trillion in Iraq, we spent $2 trillion in Afghanistan, we spend $100 billion on 900 military bases every single year. We give $80 billion a year to the big banks as a giant corporate welfare check, $4 billion a year to ExxonMobil. Don't tell me we can't afford free college or Medicare for all. Don't tell me that because of economics and reasons and things and we can't afford to pay people a living wage. Fuck off. Some of these issues are just not debatable. And we have the evidence. We see which systems are the best in the world. Slovenia has a free college system. We can't afford a free college system? Piss off. Piss off. So I'm tired of people who act in such a smug and smarmy way. Like, oh, the basic things you want that would make us catch up to every other modern nation. They're impossible. They're impossible. Don't be so naive and ignorant of how politics work. You're naive and you're ignorant of how politics works. Because so many developed countries have free college. Every modern country has one version or another of a single-payer healthcare system. The U.S. Is the only developed country that doesn't have paid time off by law. Think about that, man. We're the only one. In the entire world, it's us, Papua New Guinea, and Oman that don't have paid maternity leave by law. So I'm trying to describe to you how your government and this system fucks you. That's what happens. This system screws you. It doesn't treat you like a human being. It doesn't offer you basic dignity. It screws you. And we finally have politicians who come along and say, no, we're going to change the game. And we're not just talking the talk, we're walking the walk. We don't take any corporate PAC money. We take no corporate PAC money. And they tell you very clearly what they're for, very clearly what they're running on. And listen, I think we can win. It's going to be difficult because, 93% of the time, whoever raises the most money in a congressional election wins. And I'm not going to lie to you guys. Most, if not all of the Justice Democrats are being outraised by their opponents. Okay? But the first showing of the Justice Democrats in Texas, not bad. 2 people won their races outright. 2 of them are going to a runoff, and 2 of them lost completely. I think those are the numbers. And there was one other person who won, but they were unopposed, so that was a given. But not bad. Not bad, especially because we take no corporate PAC money, so we're at a massive disadvantage. But we have to keep fighting. We have to keep, giving them money, $27 at a time, so they can have a prayer. We have to keep volunteering for them. And listen, with enough time and effort and enough fight, we can win. And we can not only catch up to the rest of the modern world, but surpass them in many respects. And that's what I want to do, and that's what a lot of these candidates want to do. That's certainly what Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez wants to do. And it is very refreshing to see these great candidates finally get some recognition.